How's it going, everybody? It is Matty here today, bringing you my pre-planned character build for Fallout 4 slash the character build I would recommend when entering Fallout 4. Now, a reminder, this is my personal opinion. I'm kind of doing this on the fly to give you guys a good idea on what kind of character I'm going to be building in Fallout 4. Obviously, I plan on building that character that will be maxed out in absolutely everything and have every perk rank, but that's a while from now. That's a very long while from now, in fact. So we're going to talk about the now and kind of sort of into the middle game on what I expect to build my character out as, and what I, like I said, recommend to you guys. Also, I do know that my friend John from Many a True Nerd did this, so I do recommend you guys check out his video as well. There's an annotation, and it'll open up another window for you guys to watch whenever you would like. Anyway, as you guys have already seen on screen, this is my planned special for MrMattyPlays, as you can see here. So I'm going with 3 strength, 4 perception, 3 endurance, 6 charisma, 6 intelligence, 3 agility, and 3 luck. And I'm going to go ahead and explain to you guys each of these exactly why, but it's mainly based off the perks, which we'll get into a second, but mainly because I like intelligence at 6 because I always have to have high intelligence build, also because it impacts our experience points, as we can see right there. That's always great. I always have to have a smooth talker, and I don't want to start off the game low. I almost traded off some charisma points for some other categories, but I like to be a smooth talker in the early game, especially because it really does help you get some additional benefits with other people when communicating with them. I feel like things such as endurance, perception, and agility could have waited because I feel like combat's more up to my personal skill in Fallout 4 rather than being dictated by the stats such as in previous Fallout games. And although these do obviously assist and help you stay alive, but completely, you can tell by the way these skills are described, I really felt that I wanted to get started with some things that would help me level up nice and early, that would help me talk my way out of problems or into quests or into helping people or getting extra benefits from quests. Things like that I think would help me in the early game. And that's, like I said, kind of the focus of this build is the early game to middle grounds. But anyways, the special stats there's not much to say on. The reason I wanted to pick these numbers is because of the perks you unlock primarily. And we're going to kind of go left to right from starting with strength. So I have 3 strength. Now, the reason I'm going with 3, and I honestly considered putting it at 1 because I really don't use strength or melee weapons, but I couldn't resist the Armorer perk. Now, based off the perk image of Weaponsmith, we can see right here he's working on some kind of mace. So I'm going to take the assumption, and this is speculation, that Weaponsmith has something to deal with melee weapon crafting them or something along those lines. And it doesn't have anything to do with guns, which we'll get into later in the intelligence category. But anyway, Armorer was something I just could not pass up, because if it's the ability to craft our own armor, I feel that's something that would be incredibly useful to have in the game at an early part and a good perk to invest in. Like I said, I am entirely aware that all of these options will be available to us at one point or another, but I feel that Armorer, a perk that seems to be based off building your own armor, considering that's what the special videos hinted at. That's why I'm making this video, is because we have all that information from the special videos, from the character system guide, where I feel like building your own armor is going to help. Obviously, things like Big Leagues and Iron Fist could help if you're trying to do an unarmed or use melee weapon build, but for me personally, Armorer seems to be that strength perk I want. I wanted to invest into it to get up to strong back, because hearing that in that Bethesda Net article that you could sprint with strong back and you could fast travel if you're over encumbered, stuff like that really intrigues me. But right now I don't think that's a perk I necessarily need right off the bat. So moving on to the next one, perception. Now perception is all about guns and being kind of as you can see, stealthy, sneaky here. That's really mainly agility, but you know, things like pickpocketing and lockpicking. And that's kind of what I wanted to focus on, because it has a lot of things that are good for me, because it has Rifleman, which is for semi-automatic weapons. It also has lockpick, and I love picking locks just like any other Fallout fan out there. And if there's one thing I don't like in games more than anything, it's being locked off from areas because my lockpick is not high at all. So I can almost practically guarantee this is probably going to be the first perk tree I fully max out, because I like being able to get into areas and get into any chest I can, and it just triggers that thing inside me as a gamer that I have to get in there. And so this is probably going to be that one perk I invest in right away before any combat ones or really anything on this list, because I love picking locks, I love getting to the secret areas. And yeah, so obviously there are some benefits to having 4 perception, as such as general gun accuracy, and VATS having a decent perception helps in that. And I think 4 is pretty good considering the allocated points at the beginning are like only 21. It's a very small amount because you're able to level up your special stats. But anyway, yeah, Rifleman could be a helpful one depending on my weapon of choice. So perhaps that's something I could tinker with every now and then depending on what I'm stuck with in the beginning of the game, towards the middle of the game. Anyway, Endurance is our next one. Very nice Endurance. Now, Endurance is something that is really all about survival, and I trust my skill to keep myself alive, and considering that Fallout 4 has rubber banding, I'm generally going to be fighting enemies my level. And if I'm going to be fighting enemies my level, then I don't think I need anything like Toughness or Life Giver or hell, even Leadbelly to keep me alive in those high level areas. But if I had to pick a perk from this chart that I really wanted, it would definitely be Toughness. Now, since Endurance is just your general resistance to damage and along with other survival aspects, I figured that investing a couple points into this would help me off the bat. Leaving it at just 1 would not be a good choice. And if there was a perk I was going to pick right off the bat for this and start investing in, it would definitely be Toughness or Life Giver. That extra HP, that extra damage resistance helps a complete ton, both early and late in the game, where I think it's a most worthy perk in investing in. But like I said, lockpick, baby, lockpick. Obviously, we can see some more of the perks down the line here, especially for Endurance. There's some really helpful ones such as Adamantium Skeleton. For Perception, we have Sniper. For, like I said, Strength, Strong Back. So there's a lot that we're going to be missing out with our starting things, and some people actually might just start off with 10 in one of these categories. You do have that option, and you could just pick the 10th perk in this right away. Anyway, on to Charisma, and the reason I like having a high Charisma is, as I said, I like being able to talk my way into and out of things. It makes me feel like myself. I think I'm a relatively good speaker most of the time, but seriously, I am trying to build this kind of around myself, because I do want to, you know, before I start role-playing and creating those character builds, I do want to play as myself once, and so I'm just trying to model after that a little bit in the sense. But anyway, like I said, a higher Charisma is nice, mainly because of the local leader perk, because this is all about settlements, and I'm really excited for the settlement system in Fallout 4. And local leader, as you can see, turns your settlement into a profitable network of wasteland resources. I apologize, and we learned that from the special video, and just how helpful local leader is. We also learned it from the character system video, and so we learned about actually all these Charisma perks, so you can really deck out what you want for Charisma right off the bat. But based off what we know, I definitely wanted to have that local leader perk at some point during the middle part of my game as I'm growing my settlement. And obviously Cap Collector will help a ton, because as you can see, it increases your network worth and effectiveness of all vendors. Very helpful stuff early in the game to be able to kind of bend the currency system a little bit in your favor right off the bat, become a little more wealthy than you should be at your level. I think Cap Collector is going to be a good one for all of us. Anyways, moving on to my favorite special stat, Intelligence. Having a high intelligence in Fallout games has always been a worthwhile investment, mainly because it was originally an increase in the amount of skill points you got per level, but now it's XP. And since in Fallout 4 they already said you're going to be leveling up a lot more fast than you usually do, I think having that additional XP boost with a higher intelligence off the bat is going to help a ton. Obviously, it gives us an additional amount of conversation options, hopefully, but things such as vans, which I know some people might think is a little bit noob friendly, which it's basically clairvoyance from Skyrim in Fallout, as it says it's a GPS style navigation system that guides you towards your nearest quest target. We can find that in the character system video as well if you guys would like to double check that. But anyway, in Skyrim, I got lost a few times because the world was so damn big, and obviously since Fallout 4 will most likely be a little bit bigger than Skyrim, I could imagine that'd be safe to say, I figured having vans might help. Maybe not a perk I'd invest in right away, but if I kept getting lost, I think this would be something to help instead of just chasing down waypoints. But man, intelligence is just loaded with every perk I basically want. Medic, which is increase your effectiveness with medicine, such as Stimpaks and Radaway. Gun Nut, which is your crafting of, oh, they didn't write the description, but it's basically crafting general weaponry like assault rifles, pistols, and stuff. And as you guys can tell, I'm just One of my most anticipated features, just like many of you out there, is crafting weapons, crafting armor, crafting a settlement. Just, I love building, and it's why I just love that stuff in these big games, and that Fallout 4 flushes it out so much, has me so excited. So Gun Nut is a perk that I definitely want to get when I start getting into crafting. I want to have the ability to access that. Hacker is obviously nice, being able to hack into all those terminals and stuff. Like I said, with lockpicking, I don't like being locked off of certain things, and Hacker's another way to enter buildings and get into extra additional information. Maybe get some access to some new lore, because sometimes they lock it behind that stuff where you can get some new information about the building you're in. And so having Hacker is obviously helpful as well. We don't know what this perk is here, but Science is basically what Gun Nut is, but for energy weapons. And once again, you guys know I love that crafting, man, and having Science, Gun Nut, Hacker, Medicine, Vans, like those are 5 of the 6 out of here, and we don't even know, this one could be useful too, but 5 of the 6 in this intelligence tree for me so far are very useful, amongst a bunch of others that could be useful. Who knows what fusion is, who knows what robotics expert could do in some further ranks. You know, it's a very useful perk tree, especially early on. And so I'm very excited to invest in that one, because we have the effect of the additional XP in combat, along with obviously all the perks it has here. Next is Agility. Now, Agility is a perk that I wanted to invest a lot in because it really is a stealth-focused stat, and I am a stealth-focused player personally, especially when it comes to Fallout. If I could take the stealth option and get that sneaky critical, I absolutely will. So that's why I only bumped it up as far as I could to start impacting my sneak, so that I can always have that option to creep around camps or creep up on my enemies, get that extra boost damage, get that extra step on the enemy, surprise them a little bit. Obviously, Commando is great because that's additional damage with your fully automatic weapons, which is fantastic. This is for just single armed weapons, additional damage. So these 3 perks right here, first available off the bat for Agility, are perks that I'm definitely interested in and will want to invest in, but especially Sneak for my character build. I think having that ability to creep around and maybe just work your way around a situation instead of always having to fight, maybe you can just run away and just creep your way around an area that you might not be ready for. So I think Sneak's going to be really helpful, especially in Fallout 4, where they're looking to upgrade a lot of things, where hopefully, you know, armor weight and, you know, your skill actually plays into this, because in Skyrim, I don't know, I wasn't a huge fan of Sneak, where I had light armor on and I had a higher Sneak skill, and I still somehow would get heard from across the room. It didn't make sense, but regardless, I'm hoping they improve that, and if they do, then Sneak will be the one I invest in. And then finally, last but certainly not least, based off that special video, man, Luck. And Luck is a really, really helpful stat in this game, certainly. And I figured that I at least want my favorite perk in the entire Fallout universe, Bloody Mess. Bloody Mess is the best, an additional 5% damage, and obviously the most violent deaths in the video game. Now, as we know, Luck is just loaded in Fallout 4 with useful perks such as better criticals, Grim Reaper's Sprint, and obviously the ones I mentioned right here, Fortune Finder, Scrounger, and Bloody Mess, just to name a few. We're not sure what a couple of these do, such as this one here, or this one, or this one, or this one. So we can only make some guesses for those, but from what we do know about things such as Fortune Finder, which is finding additional caps, Scrounger finding additional ammo, and then Bloody Mess doing that extra damage and having the satisfaction of blowing people to bits, it's just an awesome combination, in my honest opinion, where I could see myself perhaps investing in both Fortune Finder and Cap Collector, where I could have more money than the average Fallout player early on, and then use that to wheel and deal with my charisma a little bit and really barter some people down with some prices. And see what I'm saying? Now these perks are feeding off of each other in a sense. I can't really bring up a bunch of examples. I kind of connected Hacker and Lockpick a little bit. I connected the Gun Nut Science and Armorer. You can kind of see the build I'm going for here. It's kind of a crafting focused, but also a stealth focus, because I'm really taking the sacrifice with a 6 charisma and 6 intelligence. I build out the character I want, but I'm going to be taking those sacrifices in combat because my agility is a bit lower. My perception is decent for a beginner character with 6 charisma and 6 intelligence, but it could be higher, obviously. And my endurance is certainly very low. And so it's kind of an average spread out character build to give me access to a decent amount of perks. But I gotta say that it might be tough surviving as my character based off the difficulty of the game. I'm not sure what to expect. I should be okay because Fallout isn't really known, at least the newer ones, to be this gruelingly hard experience unless you're playing Fallout Dust. But regardless, I really like how I've built my character personally. I'm willing to take suggestions. If you guys think that there's some adjustments I can make to my character, I'm willing to hear them out. I'm just here to recommend what I think I'm personally going to build. Obviously, when we get into Fallout 4, it's going to be really tough to really sit down and be like, okay, I'm going to pump 3 points into strength, 4 into perception, 3 into endurance, 6 charisma, 6 intelligence, 3 agility, 3 luck, and just skip that menu right away. Like, but I'm trying to avoid spending my first hour in the game not stuck at this menu and rather actually playing the game, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm kind of pre-planning my character here and why I'm recommending to you guys this, and maybe pre-planning your own character. I know a lot of people were saying that, oh man, I'm definitely gonna go with 10 intelligence because I want nerd rage, and that's awesome. I recommend that. I was trying to work my way up to 5 intelligence so I can get Action Boy, which is one of my more favorite perks. I know a lot of people who are gonna bump all the way up to here for luck because Grim Reaper Sprint is a very OP perk, and so everyone's going to have vastly different builds. So I'm very curious as to what you guys are going to build. Let me know in the comments. I'd like to kind of leech off your builds a little bit and see what you guys are planning on doing. I'm dying to know. But this is my pre-planned character build. I'm not treating this as a build guide. More so, this is what Matty is doing. If you guys would like to follow my footsteps, by all means. But this is just me kind of rambling on about the character I plan on building and what I'd recommend and what I find important in this game. And I'd love to know what you guys think about that as well. So let me know in the comments down below. Other than that, be sure to follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.